Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about this, but we're going to go in depth with the author of a great piece called When Barry Met Kathy. And it's Peter Schweizer, fellow at Stanford University's Hoover Institution and president of the Government Accountability Institute. Hello, Peter.
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
Good to talk to you. All right, a very clever headline there, whether you wrote it or not. This is from Politico in the Arena, and if you had told me that since the rollout on October 1st, that Barack Obama and Kathleen Sebelius had not sat down together one-on-one and had a chat at least in the 2 months ending November 30th, I would have said, get out of here. But you're telling me that it's been in 3 years and over 4 months, they've sat down together once.
Yeah, it's pretty stunning. The credit for the headline, by the way, goes to Politico.
Then I don't like it. Then I'm not giving it to you. Only kidding.
No, but it's very stunning. What we did, Steve, was we looked at the president's public calendar, which is what they release to the public, into the media, and we all understand there's a PR mode here. They want to show that the president is engaged and is working and busy, and it shows 278 meetings with cabinet officials. And it doesn't show any with Sebelius except for one way back in 2010, and it's pretty stunning. Their explanation in response has been, they were pressed by ABC News and NBC News at a press conference. Jay Carney said, we don't put all those on the calendar. They meet all the time. What we're simply asking for them to do is then you should release the schedule, because there is a schedule that is kept by the president's secretary. They keep track of every minute, every phone call, every meeting that he has. Simply release, because the American people need to know, was the president engaged? Was he aware of the Obamacare problems as they were emerging even before the rollout in October, or was he completely and totally detached? Because right now the evidence is that he was completely detached from it.
Yeah, and on your signature issue, the issue that you'll be remembered for, throughout your historical, look back, it just seems mind-boggling, and it's not as if. So you might say, well, Peter, maybe the president doesn't meet one-on-one, with private meetings with cabinet members, and of course, you found out that he had almost 300 private meetings with other cabinet members during that time period.
Yeah, here's the scary part. He had 2 meetings with the Navy secretary. Now, I love the Navy, and I'm not saying he shouldn't meet with the Navy secretary, but if he's meeting 2 times with the Navy secretary in the White House, and that's on his calendar, but there's not really any one-on-one meetings with Sebelius, the question becomes why? This is his signature achievement. I certainly have, major concerns about Obamacare, but set aside the politics of it. This is his signature issue upon which he is defining his presidency. And the fact that you are meeting with your, Navy secretary, you're meeting with the secretary of HUD or other cabinet-level members of your administration, and you're not meeting with the HHS secretary, that is deeply troubling about his leadership style. And the problem, Steve, is that, one could say, well, the president doesn't have experiences in executive, and maybe, he's kind of learning the ropes, as it were, in the Oval Office. But the troubling part is then a president like that, one would expect to have people around him that would say, you need to be engaged. Here's how you work in the executive sphere. But instead, you have aides around that are, saying and have said in interviews, well, he gets bored by these details.
Right. In fact, you quote in your piece, Peter, Valerie Jarrett as saying that, he's been bored his whole life because basically, I guess, he's the smartest guy in the world. He's the smartest guy in every room. Nobody could keep up with him. And he's bored by everybody. They have nothing to offer. And so why even talk to people? And then he goes out, and as you also point out in your column, and I remember playing this soundbite, he goes around and he says, well, I wouldn't have, back on November 14th, he said, if I had been informed that the website wouldn't work, I wouldn't have been out there promising Amazon.com, blah, blah, blah. I may be a lot of things, but I'm not stupid. Well, that's exactly what he did, and if he didn't know, now we know it's his own fault.
Yeah, and this is really, I think, why the White House is just wants this issue to go away, and why they give these sorts of vague responses. They sort of attack us and say, well, the numbers aren't right and there have been meetings, but we're not going to tell you, is that he is kind of in a difficult spot. I mean, on the one hand, if he is completely not engaged, it shows a complete failure of leadership. And I think the point we have to remember is, the focus has been so much on this as a technological failure. It's not a technological failure. Pearl Harbor was not a military technology failure. It was a leadership failure that somehow our command did not see that attack coming.
Yeah.
It's the same thing here. It's a leadership question. But on the other hand, if he was secretly engaged and had all these private secretive meetings, when he said that he didn't know about it, he wasn't being honest.
Right.
And so he's backed into a corner.
Right. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, right. He can't. There's no way out of this that turns out good for him. But you know the sad part, Peter? I don't really think he cares. He's just out to change us, and he's got 3 more years to do it, and he's going to keep doing it, and he doesn't really care. Peter, I thank you as always for your time. Good to talk to you.
Thanks so much, Steve.
Take care.
Christmas to you.
You too. Merry Christmas. Peter Schweizer, fellow, Stanford University's Hoover Institution, president of the Government Accountability Institute. When Barry met Kathy once in the past 3 years and 4 months. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.